Noah Lyles is the Olympic trials champion in both the 100 and the 200 meter dashes. But if you were watching both of those races, you should know by now that they were actually incredibly close at the line. That's because all of the sprinters who were right behind him are clearly the best that America has had for the past half decade. The only way to finish 4 better in either of those events at the trials, you already had to be a former world champion or an Olympic medalist. So I apologize to everybody else who was in their races, because to be real with you, y'all were just the contestants. And competitive championships like this are the reason that America has been running things in the sprint as of late. As far as the world championships go, we basically won everything in the 100 and the 200 since 2019. Noah Lyles took care of the 200 by himself, and Christian Coleman won the world in the 100 for 2019. Fred Curley did it in 2022, and then Noah Lyles did it himself in 2023. And even if you go back to 2017, we still went 1 and 2 in the 100 meter dash, beating Usain Bolt to do it. The only thing that I conveniently left out was the 2020 Olympics, where America didn't win either of those events. And they didn't even make the 4x1 final, but that's another conversation that I'm not getting into right now. But America isn't the only nation that just finished having their Olympic trials. Jamaica also ran their trials, and if you know how fast they are, you gotta pay attention. Noah Lyles told Jimmy Fallon that he wants to be the greatest of the great when it comes to sprinting. That means he wants to be greater than Usain Bolt. And what made Bolt special is everything that he did when the entire world is watching. I'm not talking about the World Championships, I'm only talking about the Olympics, because that's when they pay attention. So Noah now has to prove himself in Paris, because you can't become the best of the best if you don't first go out and beat the best in the entire world. And that includes Jamaica. And that is why Kishane Thompson is looking a whole lot like a problem right about now, because he wasn't around when America was running things in the sprint through the World Championship these past few years. But now he is the Jamaican trials champion, running 9.77 seconds in the final. The only man to break 9.8 this year on the clock. In fact, nobody even broke 9.8 last year either. And that means you might have to consider him as the favorite now for the 100 meter gold in the Olympics. The truth is that the American men have been screwing things up at the games in the sprints for basically the past 2 decades. And that is considering that we basically have all the world's fastest men who don't happen to be Jamaican. Remember, if you give Arian Knighton a pass because he only has world championship medals, even though he was 4th at the Olympics, then everybody else we're sending in the sprints, including Christian Coleman, who was 4th and is going to be there on the relay, is a world champion, gold medal individually, or an Olympic medalist. As far as I'm concerned, we're basically sending the Avengers in the short sprints, because nobody has proven they can beat these men over the past few years. So yes, they are supposed to win. But if you remember Team USA basketball, way back in 2008, they were not the dream team. They were called the Redeem Team, because they were trying to bring gold back to America. And whether or not you realize it, that is the task that Noah Lyles and all these fast men are up against, because we haven't seen gold in either short sprinting event for 2 decades. At least not at the Olympics. And now, Kishane Thompson of all people, from of course, Jamaica, is standing in their way. And as good as he might be, he is not Usain Bolt. So if Noah Lyles can't figure out how to beat him in the 100 meter dash, we can sure enough kiss all that greatest of the great talk goodbye. But hey, that's why we run the races. But if you're new here, I want to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. And I'm Coach Rob, the founder of SCArecruiting.com, where I rank the best track and field recruits across the entire nation. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comment section, because I try to read them all. If you're anything like me, you're probably wondering, who is this Kishane Thompson guy anyway? And where did he come from? Because 9.7 seconds is incredibly fast. So fast, we really haven't seen that time in a good while now. He actually ran 9.84 seconds 9.82 seconds, and 9.7 seconds at the Jamaican trials. All of those times were wind legal. That does not just make him the world leader now in the 100. You have to consider what he said after that final race, that he was really only trying to run the first 70 meters. In other words, he's at least trying to tell us that that joint was light work. But the only time that you might remember seeing Kishane Thompson was at the Prefontaine Classic in 2023. He didn't win the event, he actually got 4th, where Christian Coleman beat Noah Lyles to run 9.83 seconds. But Kishane Thompson was clearly still fast back then, and his fastest time of that season was 9.85 seconds. But before that year, he had never broken 10.2 officially, which is not that surprising when you realize he's only 22 years old right now. The age on the calendar actually matters, because that is about the age when pro sprinters start to look like their best self. And apparently, that's happening right now. But if you're one of America's fastest men, it probably feels like he came out of nowhere, because he wasn't in the World Championship final last year either. But the two men who actually finished behind him at the Jamaican trials really don't need as much of an introduction anymore, because Oblique Seville ran 9.82 seconds again at the Jamaican National Stadium. The last time he did it, it was ahead of Noah Lyles. He was in the World Championship final back in 2023, and he was also an Olympian in 2021. But he's only 23 years old right now. And Akeem Blake finished behind him, who most recently got 3rd at the World Indoor Championships in the 60-meter dash. Behind, of course, Christian Coleman and Noah Lyles. But he is also 22 years old and ran 9.89 seconds last season. So it should make sense that all 3 of these men have a whole bunch of fast races left to run in their career. Because if America's bringing the Avengers to the Olympics, then Jamaica is maybe bringing the Justice League, or at the very least, Young Justice. Aside from Arian Knighton, all of the American sprinters are a little bit further along in their careers. But I also told you that America has been screwing things up in the Olympics. So now I have to make it clear just how bad it's actually gotten. The year 2004 is the last time the American men won gold in the 100 and the 200. They haven't done it in either event since. Of course, Usain Bolt is a large part of that, but it's also the last year that they also have a standing medal in the 4x1 from the Olympics. There's a whole lot I could say about the relay, and there's a whole lot I've already said on this channel, so there's no need for me to go back on it now. But as far as the open 100 and the 200, we were supposed to win both of those events at the last Olympics. We had the fastest man on the clock heading into the event in both, and it didn't work out. Lamont Barthel Jacobs ran the race of his life in the 100 for Italy, and then Andre de Grasse did the same thing in the 200 for Canada. Yet you still can't get around the fact that the American sprinters were underachieving. And from that moment on the calendar until now, America has been running things in the short sprints. We have all the world's fastest men and the World Championship hardware to back it up, including sweeping the short sprints, the 100 and the 200 in 2022. But Jamaica seems to be getting their act together during the one year that actually matters, when all the world is actually watching at the Olympics. They say that track and field is really just an Olympic sport. I would personally beg to differ, but I can't change everybody's mind overnight. So let us agree on this, that the men's 100-meter dash at the Olympics for this year is as close to must-see TV as we're ever going to get in this sport. Either Noah Lyles and all the rest of our fast men bring back gold to the States for the first time in 2 decades, or Jamaica can prove to the world that they don't need Usain Bolt to show that lightning can strike again. Noah Lyles wants to be the greatest sprinter ever, and I don't blame him. But if that's actually going to happen, it needs to go down at this Olympics, because he never had to race against Usain Bolt in order to win any of his medals. But now he does have to go against Kishane Thompson, who's starting to share a whole bunch in common. SCA track and field gear is here. Fast is a lifestyle, and what you wear should reflect that. Order yours at scarecruiting.com/shop, or use the link in the description below. It's a huge support to me and this channel, so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.